Hey, Daniella.
Hey.
Okay, we're here to talk about your website and forum, In the Writer's Mind. First off, the name. What was the inspiration for the name?
It pretty much just came out of my mind. I started up the blog in 2014.
Okay.
I had a bit of a hiatus. I came back last year in second year of university, and I was like, I kind of want to do something where I kind of create something that links me to like-minded people. I was always that friend in the group that listened to the niche music, and I used to like tell my friends about the people who I used to listen to, and they never really knew them. And I was like, okay, like why don't I create something where I can meet people who kind of connect with me in a sense.
Okay. So with that, so it's like you do interviews, you do like.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but when you say your niche, what is the niche exactly?
Well, my niche I think right now is music. But I don't consider myself to be a music journalist because I have all these other passions. I love history.
Okay.
I dip into politics. I love culture. I love art. So there's so many things, and I'm trying to bring that all into In the Writer's Mind, and I have different sections on it. But the slogan I kind of went through with when I first started In the Writer's Mind was a manifestation of my mind, and that's what helps me to kind of keep it authentic, because I'm always going back to, okay, like, what are the ideas that are coming out of my mind? How can I convey myself as a person to everyone else?
Okay.
But also kind of have a brand that's kind of universal in a sense.
Okay, that's good. You mentioned like you're not a music journalist, you're a journalist.
Yeah.
With that, like in my research for the interview, you do a master's degree in international journalism.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has that helped you in like writing up your forum and navigating that, and like what would you take? Like how would the degree, like studying that, how like what from that would you think would help other people like trying to become journalists?
My master's degree in international journalism has been really great. It's teaching me a lot of things. So I did an undergraduate degree in history at the University of Leicester.
Okay.
And I used to say to my friends, oh, I didn't take out much from that degree, but I think I did. I learned how to write. And I learned how to write really quickly. And that's been really great because you kind of need that in a career like journalism. So I've taken that and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to do international journalism. And the reason why I did international journalism is because I wanted something that kind of helps me to broaden my horizons, helps me to be more aware of different cultures, be more open-minded. But I'm getting so much out of my international journalism degree. It's really great. I started a thread on Instagram actually, which is just me kind of putting stuff every week of what I'm learning. So for instance, this week I learned about how it's good to kind of spread yourself wide on Twitter and not like be in an echo chamber where you're following only journalists and editors that have the same opinions to you. Okay. So the goal is to kind of have a mindset that you are aware of different types of newspapers and publications around the world, because you just need to be aware as a journalist. You need to know what's going on, and you need to be able to like feed the facts to different people. So so I've learned about that, and I've learned about proximity, which is great. And then, I'm not saying a master's is for everyone. I just feel like a master's was for me. I wanted to go back to the basics of journalism. Right. I wanted to know the theoretical stuff. I wanted to speak to academics. I'm getting mentoring from lecturers. So it's really great. And I kind of wanted to get out of that sort of arts and culture base and go into kind of like news and current affairs and see what it's like being in the field. Okay. Which is really great. And on the course, actually, we have like news gathering days. So they'll literally be like the day before we'll have a lecture about a topic. Then they'll be like, okay, go out and find a news story. And that's something I've never had. It's kind of like my journalism has been me in front of a laptop, where now I'm actually going into the field. So that kind of experience is really invaluable, I think.
Okay, so for anyone, like any aspiring journalist, would you say that, like who'd want to do forums like what you've done with In the Writer's Mind, would you say that studying journalism is like pivotal to like that type of career, or is it not necessary? What do you think?
Well, people are different. But once again, I would say for myself, yes. There's stuff that I've learned through In the Writer's Mind that is kind of being repeated to me on my course. Okay. So for instance, they're like, know people's names when you're contacting a journalist or editor, when you're contacting press or just anyone you want to interview, make sure that you address that email correctly, blah, blah, blah. But that stuff I already knew because I'm contacting people all the time through In the Writer's Mind.
Of course, yeah.
So you learn stuff along the way with websites like this, but I do think it's good to kind of have that kind of expert advice, because some of my lecturers have been in like working for the BBC for like over 10 years, 20 years. So yeah, so I would like recommend it, but then again, it's not for everyone.
Okay, and also I wanted to get into you were talking about some of the things involving like social media, involving spreading on Twitter. As someone who like has this platform, you have to have a presence on every social media, I feel. Maybe not everyone, but like, your Twitters, your Instagrams and such. What are like the struggles of social media that you find?
Oh, a lot. So when I first started out, I obviously started out on WordPress.
Okay.
Then I moved to like, I created a Twitter account last year. I wasn't really familiar with Twitter. I'm kind of one of the newbies. And then this year I created an Instagram account and I've been managing them. The sort of issues I have with social media, I would say, is one, kind of just balancing your time on social media.
Very time consuming,
yeah. And two, I would say I'm kind of in this bit of I'm having a bit of a conflict right now, because I'm not sure whether to put my face out as the person who kind of runs In the Writer's Mind, or whether I should take a back seat, because my Twitter account is pretty much personal, but also like brand related.
Okay.
Whereas my Instagram account is literally just brand related. I make sure I don't put anything personal to do with me. I have like one post which is like of me at the very bottom, just to show people like who I am, but nothing like related to myself.
Okay.
And even it's so funny, because even when I'm writing captions, I started off saying we to try and make it seem like a brand, but now I'm like, hold on, it's not, it's me. So I've just put I, and like I thought putting I is informal, but I'm learning to just kind of convey myself. But yes, that's some of the issues I'm having with social media. Yeah, just knowing how much time to spend on it, and then knowing how you want to present yourself forward, put yourself forward in social media.
Okay, I get that. So with being like the face of In the Writer's Mind and being on social media, like the topic of like, and being a journalist first and foremost, like the topic of like cancelling culture, like being held accountable for what you're saying. What do you think about that entire thing?
Counselling culture is something that, is very worrying for a lot of people, especially young people who are starting out. For me, it's like finding the balance between being politically correct and also being real.
Yeah.
Because I'm with my Twitter, what I do, I told my friend this, what I do with like almost every tweet I do is I literally do my research and my background and everything that I tweet, because as a journalist, it's something I have to do with all of my articles anyway. But I just don't want to be in a place where someone's like, okay, wait, you don't know enough about this topic, like you can't speak on it, or you don't know about the way someone identifies as themselves, you shouldn't speak on it.
Right.
And first and foremost, I believe that if I don't speak on anything that I don't know. But yeah, so I'm just having like those kind of issues with cancelling culture.
But hold on, with the whole speaking on things that you don't know, but as like a journalist who has to cover like multiple like avenues, don't you feel like you almost have to give an opinion, even if it's an uneducated one?
Yeah,
almost?
I get you, but I just feel like every time I do kind of give an opinion, it has to have some sort of background. I need to have,
of course,
like,
okay.
We were learning about this last week, actually, to just get your information from multiple sources, which is what I'm trying to do now.
Right.
So yeah, like cancelling culture is a big issue. Like, it is like one of my worries, and I'm sure it's so many other people's worries. But
yeah, definitely.
I hope I get to the stage where I find a balance, and I'm like, I can be real without being scared of that, because I don't think anyone should kind of live in that fear in a sense.
Because another thing was with that, like the whole thing with journalism is it's about being correct, but like in the competitive like field, it's about also being first. So what do you think about like balancing the balance of that? Like you said, getting multiple sources, but it's like you want to have multiple sources. You want to be correct, but you also want to be first because the first ones are the ones that get the hits.
Yeah.
So is there like a balancing act to that?
I'm actually really glad that you mentioned the whole like being first thing, because I really do look up to a journalist called Zayn Asher, and she works with CNN.
Yeah.
And she did a TED talk about competition in the media and stuff like that. And she was saying to kind of steer away from that mindset. And I do kind of steer away from that mindset. And she was saying how she went to an interview for a media role, and she saw someone who was going for the same role as her, and they were struggling. And then she was sitting outside, she sat down with them and she helped them, like, she gave them tips and stuff like that. And I want to be that type of person. I don't want to lose myself to the industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's about being first, but it's also not being afraid to make mistakes, not being afraid to be second and be like, okay, I'm going to go for it, but I'm not going to lose my head competing with other people.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like you are you, and people will see you, and people will relate to you when it is your time.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, looking forward, and not like be competitive and worry about being first.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. You mentioned like you want to be the type to like go and like give people advice and stuff. So with that networking, like how do you go about networking within your industry?
Well, I go to a lot of music events.
Okay.
Luckily, I have a good set of friends who put me onto events and stuff. But also, I like follow a lot of pages on Facebook.
Okay.
That the Jazz Cafe, a really good one. They put events all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I follow them, and I just go to events, and I think I'm starting to master this networking thing. Because now when I go to events, if I see someone I'm familiar with, I just be like, oh, hello. I recognize you from somewhere. Are you so and so? And if they're not, then that's fine. Then it literally goes into another conversation of like, what do you do? Blah blah blah. So
right.
it's kind of like a win-win situation.
Yeah.
I'm starting to come out of my shell a bit because I feel like university made me very shy. So this
totally
is
understandable.
Yeah, this is really helping. I feel like networking is through events such like this is a good way to kind of solidify yourself in the industry as well, because you don't know who you're going to meet. You might meet someone who literally helps you to put you onto like a bigger platform. So
it's about keeping it formal and also being rememberable as well, like because that's how it's like if they remember like their interaction with you, that could like you never know what any interaction could take you. So it's very important to be social when you're at these events and be lively, be memorable, be memorable, so that it's like, oh yeah, that person, like you never know where anything could take you. So that's very important.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, also not seeing people as a means to an end.
True.
When I go to networking events, when I meet people, I'm more sort of passionate about making long-term friends, not about thinking, okay, what is this person going to do for me in my career? Most of the people that I've like interviewed, I still talk to. And it's really great because some of them have become my friends. Shout out Tiny Man.
Shout out Tiny Man.
Shout out Tiny Man. Yeah, he's become like a mentor to me. Like he is very down to earth and also great at what he does.
Okay.
Definitely don't see people as a mean to an end. Go to networking events with the sort of intention to make long-term friends and build strong businesses, fruitful businesses, and good collaborations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that now we're just going to have to get into something I saw on your IG.
Okay.
Someone here is multi-talented, so you can sing. And with those connections, artist connections, do you use that for other stuff, like making music?
I want to start.
Okay.
I went to an open mic night yesterday.
Yeah, that's the story.
My second open mic night.
No, just for clarification, you're very good. Just to get that out of the way, you're very good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to my second open mic night, and it was called House of Rhymes, run by the Wired for Music.
Yeah.
And that was really great. I think it was a really good experience, and I really do want to kind of start putting myself out there. and doing collaborations with people that I've interviewed, producers, musicians, because I do believe in being multi-talented.
Of course.
Even like during my degree, I'm learning how to use Premiere Pro. I'm using Adobe Audition. So I want to be able to like kind of be behind the scenes and also in the field. I don't want to limit myself in what I do. But yeah, singing is a passion of mine. I'm inspired by the likes of Angie Stone, Jill Scott,
Scott's
Erykah
good.
Badu.
Okay.
Yeah, like I like
That's
those kind of sounds. But I also I used to do this thing when I was younger. I used to like mimic different sounds.
Okay.
Yeah, like just different people. And then now I'm just trying to like figure out what my sound is. I really want to like hop into the booth, hop into the studio with different musicians and stuff like that, and just see where it goes. Like it's not something I'm pushing for.
So with developing your style, like you said earlier, so you're like going to your like inspirations and trying to like blend things together, blend styles. Okay, that's good. That's I mean that's like the traditional way of finding your own sound.
Yeah.
And then you would take that into the recording studio and then just like mess around a bit and see what you can come up with.
Yeah, like
okay.
I mean, I feel like in terms of being in a recording studio, I'd love to just like do backing vocals with like musicians and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, just like you know, 1 2 1 2 here and there. I feel like it would be good, and then we'll see. Like I did do a studio session with one of my friends.
Okay.
He produces, and that was really great. He plays the sax. Shout out Aaron.
Shout out Aaron.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Okay, and you said you wanted to talk about a couple books as well.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so the first we have to get to this one first, just because the title kills me. It's called Slay in Your Lane.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to get into that a little bit?
So that's by Yomi and Elizabeth.
We can't say your last names. That's what we're going to say in the first one.
Yeah. So it's a really great book.
Yeah.
It kind of teaches you how to like maneuver your way through the industry.
Okay.
And to not give up on yourself. And it shows you kind of interviews and stuff from different people, different black females,
okay.
British black females that are in the industry and various different industries too, not just media related industries. And a good thing I read in that book is that someone in the book was saying about how they basically messaged someone, I think, who owns a museum or something, and they were like, oh, do you have any events, or can I like run any events or something like that during the summer or something like that. And it's just it kind of taught me to kind of put myself out there. So don't be afraid to like message different media companies and just be like, oh, I'm so and so, I do this, I'm really proficient at this, blah blah blah. Do you have any upcoming events that I can help like spearhead? I have like youthful insights. I can be that type of person.
That's good.
You never know what people are doing.
Right. Yeah.
There's always stuff that are happening. You never know what people need help with. So I guess like it's kind of taught me to put myself forward in that way, and that I can accomplish anything I want to do if I put my mind to it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's called Slay in Your Lane, so I mean, check that out.
Apparently has Black Girl Bible.
Oh, the Black Girl Bible. Slay. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. And now the second book. What's it called?
This book is about sample-based producers.
Okay. Yeah.
The author's name is Joseph G. Scholes. I could be wrong. But
we might need to get that on record, but just for promotion's sake. Okay.
Yeah. But it's about like sample-based producers and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's like the history of sample-based producers, and I just wanted to learn all the technical jargon and stuff because I love a lot of sample-based producers and what they're doing, and I just have done for a long time. Like I just listen to SoundCloud all the time, and there's a array of sounds there, an array of producers, underground producers. Like it's like a gold mine. Yeah. So I just wanted to understand like the technical jargon and stuff like that.
Okay. With like the admiration for producers. Are there any like who would you like list as like the most inspirational producers to you?
Oh, number 1, Jay Dilla.
Done. Yep. Right answer.
Number 2, Ninth Wonder.
good.
And number
Another good one.
3, Tuami.
Tuami, okay, good.
Yeah, Tuami is like this. Oh man, his work is incredible. Like he is incredible. I wish he had a lot more recognition than he does now, but even now he does have a solid recognition and he's still respected. But yeah, he's great. And shout out to Mutant Academy and what they're doing. That whole scene, that label is great. Shout out to Fly Anakin.
A lot of shout outs.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
I just want to put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of like producers, I would say that's my like top 3. Yeah.
No Pete Rock?
No.
Well, that's another good point. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say about that one.
No, I'm not saying Pete Rock isn't great. I just like love Ninth Wonder. I love J Dilla.
And okay.
And Tuami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was good talking to you. I mean, we've discussed a lot, disagreed on 1 or 2 things, but overall, very good conversation. So what's next for you?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I do have some ideas. You know, I want to keep going with In the Writer's Mind.
Of course.
But I want to find ways to incorporate sort of history and politics into like In the Writer's Mind. Like if I'm doing stuff about music, etc. There's someone that I really do admire called Estelle Caswell. She has a series called Earworm on Vox Pop.
On Vox, yeah.
And that's like mostly about music, but I love the way she does it because it's almost like a history lesson. It's really universal and it educates you, but it educates everyone listening to it. So I want to try and find that kind of base within the writer's mind. Keep going. I do want to run events, music events. So I bring some of the producers.
So that's like networking events.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also open to the public as well. So I would love to get some of the Richmond producers, the Richmond artists to come down, run an event. And I really, really, really want to do a workshop with young writers.
Of course, yeah.
But I want to like finish my degree and properly get certified before I do anything like that. And then I was even thinking later life, like, after I'm married, kids, whatever.
Okay, we're getting into whole life plans now. Okay.
Maybe going into like lecturing, I don't know, university lecturing.
Lecturing for journalism?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like just part-time, obviously, but hopefully still going on within the writer's mind. I just hope that In the Writer's Mind is something I can like pass down to my children.
Okay.
But they can do whatever they want to do, but like I hope it becomes
just don't hover over them like an African parent because we know about that one. Okay. So it sounds like you have like this whole thing figured out then.
No, those are just like ideas. They could change. Like,
Well, I mean, we'll keep an eye on you. I mean, if you just want to shout your social medias, that they know where to follow you.
Okay. So my Instagram is at InTheWritersMind.
Okay.
All together, no spaces, no caps. And then my Twitter is at @TheWritersMind_.
At @TheWritersMind_.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll post those under the video, and then we'll just tell everybody to keep an eye out for you.